There are over hundreds of ETFs and index funds out there for you to invest your money with. And while we're not going to be diving into every single one and psychoanalyzing each single ETF that you can potentially invest with, in this video, we'll be going through two of my favorite ones that I personally invest with right now, and another one that I will probably be investing with very soon. And they all belong to the Vanguard family. So I'll be going through my exact strategy later on in the video. But as to not waste anyone's time, we have to establish if you're either a passive or an active investor. Personally, technically, I'm a bit of both. 80% of my holdings are pretty passive, and then 20% is me being very active in whatever I want to invest with. And if you watch our channel, you're probably in the same boat, leaning towards passive investing, which is probably a good thing because no one really knows what the stock market is going to do. So if you do dedicate even a small percentage of your portfolio to long-term investing, keep watching the video because it might just change what you currently do. But maybe you're watching this video and you don't actually invest in a single ETF. Well, they're low cost, low risk, and they're relatively passive. And while this is not financial advice, in my opinion, they're probably the safest way to invest in the stock market. The single biggest risks in ETFs comes with general market risk. See, the exchange traded fund is only a wrapper for their underlying investments. So if you buy, say, the S&P 500 ETF, and the S&P 500 drops by 50%, nothing about how cheap, tax efficient, or transparent an ETF is will help you. But that's a bit cynical, as they've pretty much stood the test of time, and even if we go as far back as 100 years ago, people still made money, and their value has continued to go up regardless of wars and pandemics. So they've remained the go-to for long-term investors. Now, the first stock that I invest with will come to no surprise to anyone that's seen any of our videos, and it is Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, or as you probably know it, VOO. This is actually the first stock I put any money into, and Connor and myself have devoted a large portion of our portfolio to this stock. If you want a full in-depth of what VOO actually is, Connor made a great video explaining entirely what it's about and pretty much everything you need to know about it. But just a quick brief overview for those of you that don't know what VOO is. It tracks the S&P 500 in the US market. So only the top 500 companies that reside in the States. The good thing about it is that there's no favoritism at all. So if one company drops the top 500 and another one enters, it just keeps sort of switching around like that. It's largely known to be one of the most popular Vanguard investments, and because it tracks the US market, it tends to outperform other ETFs. And you can't really go wrong with a Vanguard ETF. Now, the second stock I'll be talking about today tracks everywhere besides the US. It is called Vanguard All World Except US Shares Index ETF, or VEU for short. Now, VEU is really interesting because, like I said, it tracks many of the world's largest companies listed in major developed and emerging countries outside the US. So if any of you guys want to diversify your portfolio and not solely invest in the US or in the ASX, I think this is the perfect stock for that. You're minimizing a lot of your risk because you're not investing in random companies around the world that you don't know about, but just the top ones that consistently perform. And I have actually introduced this stock into my passive long-term side of my portfolio. Now, there is a third stock I would like to cover in this video, and separately from the other two mentioned before, this one covers the ASX market and is domiciled in Australia. It is the Vanguard Australian Shares Index ETF, or VAS. This one's really cool because I believe it actually pays out dividends quarterly as well. So you can actually take that money and just reinvest it back into the stock, which is really cool. Now, to be completely honest, this next part, I took a lot of inspiration from Scott Pape and this book. See, when it comes to index funds, ETFs, and just investing in general, Scott Pape's strategy essentially hedges his bets by investing in a collection of different stocks. Now, I won't be going through exactly what he does with his strategy, but I have taken inspiration from it and crafted my own sort of version. See, the overall goal for the long-term side of my portfolio is to, well, diversify myself and hedge between the three stocks that I mentioned before: VOO, VEU, and VAS. One that covers the US, rest of the world, and the ASX. See, currently my portfolio, I currently invest 80% into ETFs for that long-term strategy, and I've got 20% into whatever I want. You know, things like Bitcoin and Apple take a lot of that percentage at the moment. But moving away that 20%, if we zoom into the 80 at the moment, a lot of it is with VOO and some is with VEU. Now, I'm not currently investing in VAS yet, but I will be looking to make that happen in the future. See, in all honesty, you probably could just invest in one ETF for the rest of your life and come out on top, as that's kind of what you see when you look at past history. So it's not really necessary to diversify yourself with the three. And as it stands right now, the two investing apps I invest with right now, Stake and eToro, neither one offers VAS. So currently I'm waiting for Stake to release the ASX side of their platform, and hopefully they will be introducing VAS as a stock, but I'm not really in any rush. Is there anything stopping me from buying VAS? Well, besides the fact that I'm not doing my strategy right now, I'm not really bothered because it's not really going to make much of a difference. And the investing apps that do offer VAS as an option, for me personally, brokerage fees are just not worth it in my opinion with my desired portfolios. So for now, I'll stick with Stake and eToro, and in the coming months, hopefully go full forward with this strategy. Of course, if for whatever reason Stake doesn't offer it, I will probably look into different apps that can provide all three for me. Let me know what you think of the strategy down below, and let me know if at all I inspired you to maybe do your own research and look into diversifying the long-term aspect of your portfolio at all. And if you enjoyed the video, as always, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, you would be making two people very happy. And if you haven't yet signed up for Stake or eToro and you want to, you can get a free stock with Stake if you use our link down below.